I've made 12 tabletop role-playing game zines in 12 months. In a year. Over the past year, I've made a ton of videos detailing the process of creating these zines. Everything from drawing maps and monsters to creating magical items to full-on campaign settings and even a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle inspired game. But these videos come out as I'm working on the zine, so it's rare that I get to show off the final booklets in all their glory. So in this video, I want to flip through the past year's worth of work, show you some of the fun things I've created that I'm really proud of, and maybe you'll find something that you're interested in checking out more. Let's start with Flick Silverpen's guide to making maps more fantastical. So I just added this to my online shop, and I guess I should say that everything I'm featuring in this video is in my online shop if you want to buy the physical versions. If you want the digital versions, you can just sign up for my Patreon and get access to all of these. Both links are down in the description. So Flick Silverpen's Guide to Making Maps More Fantastical is the follow-up, the sequel to my Making Maps zine that teaches you how to draw fantasy world maps. This More Fantastical zine is filled with even more step-by-step instructions. It's all just step-by-step instructions on how to draw more elements that your fantasy map might have. Different types of mountains and trees, lakes and swamps and bogs, clouds, ice and fire, giant thorns and crystals, caves and portals and bridges and walls, all kinds of different towns and cities. And I think if you're interested in drawing fantasy world maps, these two zines combined will have you covered for everything that you can dream up to include in your own fantasy world. Next up is Flick Silverpen's Guide to the Temple of the Waking Thread. This is a system-neutral one-shot dungeon adventure, so you can use it with any fantasy tabletop role-playing game you like. And this one's really easy to throw into the middle of a campaign. The idea is, if an important character dies, maybe one of the players or an important NPC dies, you can go investigate what's going on at this Valorum temple and hopefully find a way to resurrect them. So this dungeon is filled with a bunch of different ghosts and these little marsupial acolyte monk people. And there's these giant insects that are burrowing up through the ground into the temple, causing chaos. It's a 15-room dungeon with some fun magic items and lots of fun NPCs for the GM to play. It comes with this 11 by 17 unlabeled map that you can share with your players at the table. And I'm just really proud of this one. And like I said, really easy to drop into any ongoing fantasy campaign. Next up, we have Flick Silverpen's Guide to Drawing Monsters and Mad Morven's Guide to Making Monsters. So in Making Monsters, Mad Morven has taken over from Flick Silverpen and has authored a crazy manual on summoning monsters. It's basically a bunch of fun, thematic, thought-provoking random tables that are going to help you create your own totally unique original monsters for your TTRPG. And once you've created your own monster, then you can open up Flick Silverpen's Guide to Drawing Monsters and learn how to draw them. So this guidebook takes you through step by step. You don't have to have any drawing ability. It will kind of guide you through the process of creating this stick figure-like version of your monster and then slowly adding details on top of it. I'm really proud of this guidebook because it breaks down something that can seem very complicated into something that's rather simple. And it's going to teach you the basics of drawing while you're coming up with these cool, fun, monstrous characters. Next up, we have Flick Silverpen's Guide to Miraculous Markets. This is a collection of 50 unique single-use magic items that you can throw at your players. It's divided into 4 different shops, so each shop can totally be an encounter your players have. There's the Perfect Pack. It's a bunch of adventuring meals. There's Agast's Treats and Sweets. It's a dessert shop that has random magical properties, some very powerful random magic properties that your players won't know until they try the dessert. Then there's Nosher's Monster Grill. That's just a bunch of really weird food that has some great upsides, but also some not so good downsides. And lastly, the Libation Statue. So your players can sacrifice an item and then get a potion that has a powerful magical property related to the item that they sacrificed back in return. I really like loading up my players with magic items, and by making them single use and really fun abilities, it means for a really good time at the table. Players will come up with crazy stuff using these magic items. Next up, we have Teenage Mutant Tunnel Goons. This is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle inspired game that is a hack of Nate Treme's Tunnel Goon system. It's a really wonderful rules light system that encourages fun role-playing. As you can tell, I had a lot of fun designing this booklet. It comes with 4 character sheets that are made to look like an action figure backing card. And I'm just really happy with how this one turned out. There's these random tables that help you build a team, and there's even a bunch of rules in the back that helps a GM create their own adventures. It's a really simple, easy to use game, so you can pick it up and play really quick, really fast to make characters and get things moving, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot of fun to be had with this one. It also comes with a full one-shot adventure called Outbreak of the Animoids. This one has a team of mutants infiltrating the Garden Park Zoo because there's this mutated cockroach from the future that is arming all of the animals with cybernetic equipment. It comes with this huge fold-out map that'll have your players excited to visit all of the zoo exhibits and get to the bottom of exactly what this crazy roach from the future has going on. I was really excited by the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, the Mutant Mayhem movie that came out earlier this year, and I'd like to think that in the same way I channeled a lot of love for the old cartoon and side-scrolling beat-em-up video games into Teenage Mutant Tunnel Goons and the Outbreak of the Animoids adventure. Next up is Flick Silverpin's Guide to Drawing Cities. This is another how to draw guidebook. This one's going to take you step by step through the entire process of drawing an overhead city or town map. Just like the other guides, you don't have to have any drawing experience to make a cool looking city map. It's got examples of everything that you might draw in a fantasy city, and even teaches you how to sketch the terrain and lay out the city, label it, and finalize everything and get it looking awesome so you can share it with the other players at your table. Next up is Flick Silverpin's Guide to the Great Goblin Flight, another system-neutral one-shot adventure. This one has the players hired by this mysterious wizard to go steal something from a goblin quarry, but there's a group of ghoul mercenaries and wizard apprentices that are also trying to steal this magic item. There's this huge, crazy flying monster that swoops in and causes all kinds of chaos, and of course there are 20 different goblins working in this quarry. They're preparing for a huge explosive fireworks show. And what's really fun about this one shot is that it's completely random. So each location on the map, you're going to roll on a random table to see what's going on. And of course, there's all these different characters running around, making things more complicated. And of course, there's a fun mystery to solve. My idea with this one is if your players needed a way to travel a great distance very quickly, this is a great one-shot adventure that you can throw in. If they side with the wizard and steal this item, he'll teleport the players to wherever they want to go. But your players might decide that the goblins are actually the cooler group. The goblins are cooler, and if they help them, then the goblins will take them wherever they need to go. Next up, we have Astrin Odyssey. These 3 zines combine to make a whole fantasy setting and adventure inspired by old NES JRPG games. Think original Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest games. The first zine is Dracon's Curse. This sets up the adventure, kind of explains the world, and has the players going on this forge quest. It's this like little mini game that you would have at the beginning of the first session that kind of gets your players all together as a group. And then the adventure really gets started when the players return to their hometown to see it burning. And then they have to explore all of Astralin to find these magic items: Eldrick's armor, helmet, boots, shield, and sword, if they want to have any hopes of defeating Drakon, the evil wizard. The next zine is The Ruinous Voyage. This one outlines all of the locations on the Astralin map. There's 14 different towns and dungeons to explore, and as you can tell, I had a lot of fun on doing all the pixel art. I really tried to make it look like an old NES RPG. I even used the NES color palette. And of course it has all of the locations you would expect, like a water temple and a dungeon in a volcano. And of course the evil wizard's floating tower. And then we have the final zine, A Monster Draws Near. This is like the monster manual. I think there's over 30 pixel art monsters in this. And as you can see, there's no stats. So again, this is a system neutral adventure. So you can use any sort of fantasy tabletop role-playing game to play this. But each monster has its own set of attacks and special moves, and even some stuff like their strength and speed and defense, so you could easily adapt them to whatever game you're playing. Then in the back, there's all of the special and magic items that the players can find while exploring. If you're looking for a fun, whimsical, retro feeling campaign to play, definitely check out Astrin Odyssey. And that is an entire year's worth of work. I gotta say a huge thank you if you're someone that's watched these videos. It means so much. If you've bought anything from my online shop or supported me at all on Patreon, huge thank you. You've allowed me to spend my days working on all of this stuff. I work really hard on these zines every month because I want my patrons to feel like they're getting something awesome each month. And I try to make these zines as cool and inspiring as possible because when someone orders from my shop, it really means so much. I pack every order myself and I include a postcard dungeon, a one-shot dungeon on a postcard, and a free sticker with every order because I want the orders to feel special and show my gratitude to all of you. And if you're still here at the end of the video, it means so much that you've checked all this stuff out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!